this is honestly where the money's made. But if you wanna do like a run through, you can do one, and then he'll do one, and I'll act like I'm a homeowner. So let's do that.
Summer. We do love the house and we love the area. This isn't something that I was really actively considering. I just kind of got the call from him. In the back of our minds over the past year, there has been a little bit of thought of, maybe we should have bought something slightly bigger. But we really do love the home in the area. So what I told Eddie, right, is that, we have to make sure that it's the right offer before we decided to make any move.
Okay, perfect. No, that absolutely makes sense. Us being around, we definitely have different exit strategies for our sellers. So, if our initial offer doesn't work, I can run through maybe different scenarios to see if it makes sense for you guys.
Understood.
Perfect, awesome. So, me and him actually did speak with the finance department yesterday, and they actually let me know what the property qualified for. But before I kind of get into the numbers, I do want to be very transparent with you on what the process looks like if you're to work with us. Is it okay if I go over that with you first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So, first, I would let you guys know what the property qualified for. If you guys decide that you like the number, you guys like what we do, and it just makes sense for you, then at that time I would actually send you over a written agreement to your email, and then we would both go through that together. That way, if you guys have any questions or any concerns that may arise, I'll be able to answer that right away for you. Are you guys currently in a position to be able to do that?
To do what? Go through and review some things like that, or?
Yeah. Just in case we are to agree on the number and it just makes sense for you, be able to go over the agreement together.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Obviously, right. Any number that's thrown out there today, I'm sure there would be some discussion on it, and then after that discussion, I'd probably want some time to discuss, privately with my wife as well before I signed on anything, of course. And then the other thing that I mentioned, Eddie, right, is that we've only been in possession of the home for a year, less than a year actually. It'll be a year in June. And I understand that, in any sort of sale scenario, just having, slight tax background, any sort of sale scenario right before a year is considered as a short-term gain instead of a capital gain. So the tax structure is obviously quite different. So, in the hypothetical scenario that, we were in agreement on any number, I would not want to do anything until we reach that 1 year mark, for the tax advantage.
Gotcha. Okay, no, that definitely does make sense. How much more time do you need before you get that year?
The year mark will be in June, early June.
Okay, perfect. I think we can make that work for you. That shouldn't be an issue. That's just a couple months away. We can definitely work around that. That way, as you said, tax purposes, it just makes more sense to wait a couple months. So we can definitely make that happen for you.
Okay.
And then as well, typically our offers are good for about 24 hours. But because it's the weekend, I want to give you guys some time to ponder on it. I'll go ahead and extend that till Monday. That way, if we go over a number today and you guys kind of want to discuss it, we can circle back and then touch base on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine too. And we have a close friend, family friend, who's a real estate agent. So in addition to discussing anything with my wife, I think together we'd like to discuss with her too, to get her perspective. But yeah, I'm not committing necessarily to being able to provide an answer by Monday. But tentatively, I think that should be okay. With the assumption, obviously, that, we determined that the price was fair.
Okay, of course, that definitely does make sense. Now, I know that you had mentioned to Eddie again that you wanted to sell and get into something a little bit bigger. Were we the first investment company to reach out to you, or have you received a few calls?
You're actually the third within the past week, which is one thing that makes me a little bit concerned because part of me thinks maybe there's something that I don't know about our area. There is a property across the street from us, that's been on the market for a while, and just full transparency, right? There's been some attempts, within the past couple of years, is my understanding, that they would be putting in townhomes across the street from us. And I've seen some work going on there lately, so that's one thing that makes me a little bit skeptical. I don't know if they're planning on doing that soon. I've seen a lot of work going on out there. So I mean, if you guys know something that I don't, I would certainly appreciate it if you let me know, because it is a little bit odd that, I think you guys are the third people to reach out within the past week.
Gotcha, absolutely. So what it is, I know that there's a few investment companies out there. What we do specifically, we actually have a rental portfolio. I'm not sure if Betty went over that with you. So your property would probably go into a rental portfolio. Typically, they do go out to nice families. There is an extensive background check that they have to go through to get approved for the property. We just actually acquired 2 other properties in the area. What we do there is actually a property analyst that goes out and actually sees what properties will probably benefit us in the long run, as far as like yield rates. So I think that we just came across your property. I'm not sure why the 2 other companies actually reached out to you. I'm wondering if it's maybe one of the development companies that are reaching out to you to maybe purchase more land in the area, which could be the case. But as far as us, yeah, it's just maybe just a random call that, it just we just happen to be third.
Yeah, makes sense. I was just kind of curious because, there's been some chatter amongst the neighbors that, potentially something is getting started there across the street. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I was just curious. Maybe you guys do something.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Perfect. So, I kind of want to go over the number with you to see what you guys think. And again, this is what the property qualified for. You're not paying any closing costs. You're not paying any realtor commission fees. And we are taking the is, which means you don't have to do any repair or anything. There's no vendor reports involved. So this is what you're walking away with in your pocket. Right now, the property actually qualified for $403,700.
On Rebot, yep.
Yeah, it seems, quite low.
Is that correct? Okay.
Staring at, property right now.
I would love to discuss
also on the main road,
how we work.
that sold 1 month ago. Same size, was built in the same exact year. Sorry, not same exact year, 5 years old,
Yeah.
1930 instead of 1925.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
it's a 3-2 as well,
Okay.
and it's slightly smaller square footage on the same street. And it just sold last month for $423
Okay,
almost.
so I just wanted to confirm.
Okay. Properties. They really didn't walk away with that number.
What had you looking to sell
Walked
the
away a little
property?
bit closer to the actual 400,000 mark. But it's just something to keep in mind. We
Okay.
definitely have that option as well, where we can actually list
Oh,
the
wow.
property for you, and actually still take care of the closing costs and get you to the number you actually would probably want or are looking for.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it, right, that there's no closing costs involved, but I'm just talking in terms of a pure value perspective, like value for the home. We discussed with Eddie yesterday, just out of full transparency, and when his assistant initially called me and they asked for a number, I look at the comps every 2 months. I try to stay current with it, as current as I possibly can.
Okay, gotcha.
And, I didn't necessarily have the freshest data in my mind at the time, but when I spoke to that person, the assistant, I apologize, I cannot remember his name. The first number that came to my head was 430,
12, 14.
for a couple of reasons. One,
But you
I
said it
think
did have
we've
a
seen
unit, correct?
significant appreciation
Okay, cool.
within
I
the
just wanted to
past
make
year
sure.
since we bought the
And
home.
so,
And two, we've done a
so your
significant amount of
sister and your
upgrade
mom
work.
built it, right?
Some of that is actually going on right
Oh,
now.
wow.
But,
It's a good,
we painted the
family-
interior of the house.
family
That's
effort,
one
right?
thing. And then we're also, the 3 bedrooms
So
in
y'all
the
built it
house.
from just
We're
ground
also
up.
in
That's
the
insane.
process and should be completed by end of next
That's
week.
pretty, that's awesome.
switched all of the carpet out for LVP.
That is so pretty cool.
As
You
well
never
as
see that
placing
really. I
a
mean, did
bathroom
y'all purchase
in.
the land?
So
and then-
not only, have
you know,
we seen
just kind of-
appreciation, we've also invested,
Oh.
quite a bit of our own money, into the home. So that's kind of why that 403 number seems quite low
Okay.
to me at this point in time. So I don't know, how your process exactly works, but,
I got family
and
ties
I'm
in
not
that area.
necessarily saying that 430 number that I mentioned the other day is,
Awesome. And,
you know,
is
the
there any-
absolute number has to be that
sold
number,
it
but
before selling that
I
property?
mean, again, I'm just being transparent with you. I'm staring at my computer
Okay,
screen
I
right
just-
now. 870 Moreland Ave, just up the street from us.
Okay, gotcha.
Same square footage, same bed, same bath,
Sold,
same year that it was built. It just sold for 423. So that's why it seems a little low.
And, you know,
Gotcha. No, that's
So you were
definitely
just,
understandable, and I'm kind of glad
was
that,
this,
that
have
you're
you been
aware
thinking
of
about
the
this for
market
a while
around
now, or
you.
was it kind of just like?
Again, those
you know,
properties probably sold on the market, not being a cash offer. So even though the number looks a lot bigger, and I understand that you actually did some upgrades to the property, I mean, we can definitely try and talk to
Yeah.
the finance team to see if we can have them come up on their price. The more information
Okay,
I have,
I mean,
the better it is for me on my end, just because it's easier for me to go map for you guys. I mean, realistically, let's say, if we could come up on our price, I mean,
yeah.
full transparency, where would we need to be to earn your business?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, the 430 number is kind of what we were targeting initially. I would have to discuss
I mean,
with my wife.
if you don't mind me
off
asking,
the
you know,
phone,
is there a price range
to
you're
make
looking
sure
to
that
get
we
in?
actually have the correct number in mind, and that we're in agreement between the two of us, because, want to make sure that
Okay.
she's as on board as I am if we were having that sort of discussion. But, I think in order to be competitive, it would have to be, at the very least, kind of around
so,
the range of what the
if
other
I-
house on our street just sold for, which
If
is,
we told
you
you
know,
right
pretty
now,
much
we
a
bought
dead
it
on.
as is, where you didn't have to put the
Yeah.
ball rolling, okay?
I mean, what I will tell you, right, is the
All
other
right,
offer
thank you, Mr.
that we
Stamper, and
have
I'll, pleasure doing
pretty
business with you,
recently, that's one thing. It's a verbal offer at this point, but I do believe that, it's a serious offer. But, if you have a chance to talk to your finance department, let me know. But, I do want to be 100% transparent that there is, one other interested party, and then I think the other company that called, they didn't give any offer or anything like that yet. So, not sure exactly their level of interest, but the one other company did. So, yeah, are you planning on having that conversation today, or is it something that will be like next week? Just curious.
Yeah, I'll actually reach out to them right now. I'm going to send them an email to see if I can have them give me a call and see if we can have a second look together. And then I can either follow up with you later today, or if you want to take the time and kind of think about your decision on selling the property and see what your final price is. I can follow up with you Monday morning around the same time if that works for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, if you have information to pass along, you feel free to pass it along today.
Okay.
I'll be in meetings for part of the afternoon, but not too much. Just, I would ask, if you do end up calling back, just if it's outside of 1 to 2 or outside of 3 to 4, that would be helpful.
Okay, perfect. I'll go ahead and add you into my calendar for a little bit after 4 o'clock today. That way, if I do have new information today, I'll go ahead and give you a call and relay that to you. If not, I'm going to add you to my calendar for Monday as well at 11 a.m. as well. That way, if I do have any information, you will have it by then, okay?
Understood. Yeah, that sounds good. And hey, take a look at that 870 Moreland Ave property. It's like, I'm surprised. It's literally, all the numbers on there are like pretty much exactly what our house is. Same kind of property type, like
Are we
bungalow,
manager notes?
bungalow ranch kind of.
I just want
So just take a look at it. It's a pretty good comp.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely will, and I'll mention that to them as well, so they take that into consideration for our final offer. And again, if I get that number today, our final number today, I'll definitely reach out to you, so you kind of can ponder that over the weekend, okay?
Yeah, sure thing. Let me know.
Perfect. Awesome. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, that was my wife yelling at our dog.
Sorry about that. Yeah, again, if anything comes up, I'll definitely reach back out to you. If you guys come up with any questions or any concerns, feel free to reach back out, and I'll be here to help you guys out, okay?
Okay, sure thing. Thanks for your help.
Hey, absolutely, Michael. Thank you so much for your guys' time. We'll chat soon.
Sounds good. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Damn. You just signed a contract with us for the property, so this is just saying that this is a legal binding contract. So everything we're doing here, we're doing it by the book. And right here, closing date.
I think you said May the 3rd.
Yes, ma'am, on Tuesday, correct?
Right, because I babysit grandkids.
Okay. And the title company, we use different ones, but for right now, we're gonna put to be determined.
Okay.
To just figure out which one would be best.
There you go.
Yes, ma'am. Determined. And then the last one would be additional terms. So we would have to purchase the property vacant, at the end of closing.
Right.
This is, they're gonna close, and offer is contingent, and there being no HOA rental restrictions.
There isn't any there.
There's no HOA, correct?
Right.
Awesome, and that's really it. So this is, our company, Buyer Ovation Equity. Let me go ahead and date it. So today is the 8th, correct?
Right.
Okay, so if everything makes sense to you, ma'am, all that's left is just, the signature.
Okay.
And we'll be speaking Monday, okay?
Okay.
Possibly maybe Friday. We'll try to make it as quick as we can.
All right. Thank you.
Have a safe drive.
How'd it go, dog?
It went pretty good. She was pretty cool about it. So that's good to hear.
I can put it back up.
The only thing was we had the wrong address, but the one she showed us is like better. So I'm not tripping.
Oh, for real?
Did you ask her about the renovated house?
That's hers. Oh, I did.
Yeah.
I was like, we saw some photos about 7303, and she was like, oh no, that's my neighbor's. I also own that one.
Oh, she also owns it?
Yeah, but she was like, but this one's way better than that one. So I don't know, maybe it's much nicer. So
Shoot, I hope so.
yeah.
So I actually had helped Victor probably about 2 weeks ago about why I felt like he wasn't doing it effectively, and it was because the agreement is, everybody's gonna go through it as if it was just bullet points. The whole idea of our script, or the script to go over this, is just to make them super comfortable, so you'll realize how I go through it is typically a lot of just like situations, so they understand. They don't have to read it word for word, it's just like, this is what it basically means. So obviously you had kind of done it for a little bit, but it's actually super important because it makes them feel, the way you do it is going to be the difference between them saying, I want to pass it by an attorney or not. And that, obviously you guys know, kills most deals. But typically how I say it is, you guys know how to do it if you don't know, in offers, how to send the contract. It's pretty simple. But what I'm typically doing when I'm sending it to them, I'm like, okay, well, it should be there in probably about a minute, and I'll just go on mute and I'll wait for them to actually get it. Let me know when you see the email, and then I'll walk you through it. So when you get the email, they have a button that just says, please sign and open the document or something. I have to look at the exact wording on it. Make sure they open it. I took away the feature. They used to have to press a button to electronically sign. I don't know, that's probably when you had done it, but they had to press a button and it would confuse a bunch of people. Now it just opens up the document, and you guys won't see it, but every time somebody opens up a document, it'll notify me through email. So I have to figure out if I can potentially send that to you guys, but what I'm typically saying is, John, do you see on the top, it should say as is purchase and sale agreement for real estate. Do you see that? Okay, great. Well, as you can see, we already kind of have it pre-filled out. At any point, you know I'm just an open guy. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm open, honest, and if there's any concerns, just let me know. But again, we only get to this if both decision makers are there. Do not go over it without it. And 99% of the time, you have to get it approved if you're gonna send it out without everybody there to me. Because sometimes it's situational, we send them out once in a while with Victor, but I'll be honest, 99% of the time they don't get signed if they don't get signed here. But John, this agreement is made between your name, obviously the seller. Does that look right to you? Is that legally spelled the correct way? Is that what you're gonna see on the deed? Obviously, if there's a wife there, you can put that there on podium on the offers. And then our company, Ovation Equity, I'm leaving out this and/or signs. I'm not talking about it.
You don't read it, right?
I don't read it
Technically?
ever, yeah.
Okay.
Obviously, we're the buyer, and then we have the property address. Does that look correct to you? Yeah, okay, great. Well, as I mentioned to you, we're buying this home as is. Again, I really don't want you to put another penny in the property if you don't have to, because that's, in my opinion, I'll just be honest with you, that's just a sunk cost for you, right? So we just outline a little bit of what we talk about as is. That's just basically anything that you would basically is like kind of already attached to the home. We just ask you leave it. We don't want open pipes. We don't want random trees being pulled down. If there's anything that you specifically want to take, just let me know. And sometimes those are things like the washer and dryer are pretty big things. But I just will try to say, I mean, if you were going to put this home on the MLS, how would you sell it? Sell it the same way to us, right? Built-in appliances, any draperies, blinds, shades. If there's anything that you need to take, just let me know. And we can, if we don't do it here, we can just put an addendum just so we can have something in writing. The purchase price, we already talked about it, but we're going to be buying your home for $300,000. It's all cash. And then we obviously just show you that we're interested, like we're a serious buyer. We're going to put down earnest money. I don't know if you know or not, but in the state of Georgia, you have to put at least $200 earnest money to have a legally binding contract. So just so you know, that money's going to be held with the closing attorney, Schaeferts and Dean, or whoever it is. And I'll actually show you that on the second page, what we have, who the closing attorney will be. But this part is actually not on our contract.
Okay.
So you just have to say that the earnest money is going to be held with them. Does that look all good? Because some people have no idea what earnest money is, to be honest. So you just say that just goes towards the total purchase price. So if it says $300,000 here and $1,000 here at closing, not considering closing costs and everything, we're going to come in with a check for $299,000, right? And then we're going to go down. If you scroll down a little bit, we see that we just have a couple terms here. We really have shied away from those big purchase and sale agreements where they're 9 pages, and there's lingo that you and I both don't know. That's just going to make everything more confusing. So we make it pretty concise, but we just want to reiterate the super important points. We have the closing costs. We're going to be paying for all those. Those other things include attorney fees, title fees, HOA docs when we pull them. All those kind of miscellaneous things, all covered by us. We really don't want a single penny coming out of your property. Additional terms is where if they really need that DD period for some reason, or actually something I forgot to talk about is where we need to put every contract starting with you guys needs to have an expiration. This offer becomes null and void if not signed by both parties by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this date.
Okay.
Because this is how
You want us to put it in the additional
you want to put, yeah.
Okay.
And so now they feel like they have an expiration on it. And you should probably talk about it when you're going over it. But realistically, that shouldn't apply that much because you should be having under the impression that they're signing right now. If you feel like they're 100% going to sign right now, don't put the expiration because it might be like, it'll give them time they didn't know they had, right? So now they saw that and like, oh, okay, I actually have till tonight, I'll let you know where. So use it for what you will, but any contract obviously that we're just throwing out there that they're not, maybe we can't walk through it or whatever, has to have an expiration. And judge that for what you will, whether typically 1 or 2 days max.
Okay.
But as I said, like walking through the contract probably takes 8 to 10 minutes. If I were to do it just line by line, it'd probably take me about 2.5. But again, it's just making them feel super comfortable, especially like in the beginning when I'm saying, any point, you just let me know. I'm an open book. We're not trying to hide anything here. We just try to keep our purchase and sale agreements as simple as possible. Now, when it's done, you will have everything signed. And this is the most awkward part, is like, how do you get them to sign? All I would say is, obviously, do you have any questions? Obviously, you know, Mr. Shea, I kind of talk fast, so I apologize. They're like, no, it looks good. Okay. Well, if you scroll down to the very last page, you should see a yellow box right on seller. If you can click on that, let me know, and I'll tell you what to do from there. Typically, what that does is it pulls up their signature they can adopt and sign. Press that, the date will pre-fill, and then they're like, okay, I see it, great. Okay, now when you're done with that, you should press done, and then in the top right, you should see finish. Once they press finish, I think it might even have them confirm it. Then you'll get the notification through Slack that they signed. Like, okay, great, appreciate it. Well, I actually just got it on my end, so we're all good. Kind of the next steps, and you can word it with what you want, but we'll have our Natalie, our transaction coordinator, reach out to you, hopefully to try to get some pics here in the next 24, 48 hours. She can introduce herself, and she'll give you kind of what to expect going forward. That sound good? And then you can say if you have any questions. If she, for some reason, doesn't pick up, you have my cell phone number and whatnot. But, yeah. Sound good?
Awesome.
But this is big, though. Because if you fucked it, you can do everything right and get here and say the wrong thing and it messes everything up, right? So this is honestly where the money's made. But if you wanna do like a run through, you can do one, and then he'll do one, and I'll act like I'm a homeowner. So let's do that.
All right, okay.
Let's do that. Well, let's actually pull up like a one that we're doing, like we have on the contract that way. So I'll be Gerald.
Okay, cool. All right, Joe. Well, this is kind of our contract right here. You see at the top right, it says as is purchase sale agreement. You know.
Yeah, I do see it.
Okay, awesome. So I guess just to start it off, I'm just gonna go over with you. It's just a simple contract.
So one, we never say contract.
Simple agreement.
Right?
Yeah.
So you don't even have to start with simple agreement. So Gerald, you see it should say as is a purchase and sale agreement, and then you can go into the whole, just so you know, this isn't some 9-page agreement. We really shy away from that, because in those agreements there's just a bunch of lingo that nobody understands. So we try to make it pretty simple. You'll see here as I walk you through it, something like that.
Let me try to say that.
Okay.
In that type of. Okay, well, you kind of see our agreement here. It's just a simple two. No, you said something else. You said something way better.
No, you could say it's a simple 2-page agreement.
Okay, simple 2-page agreement. We don't like to give out super long agreements that are full of a bunch of business jargon. That you and I will understand. So we like to make it pretty simple, something we can both understand. Something you'll be comfortable with. Just starting off at the top, it says
Set
right
expectations too, don't forget. If you have any questions throughout this, you let me know. If I'm talking too fast, whatever. Stop me. I'm an open book, right?
Okay. So yeah, if at any moment you feel like you have you're a bit confused or you have any questions, just let me know and I'll try to answer it as best as I can. So just to kind of start off here at the top of it, this agreement is made by that'll be your name, correct? Is that all right? It's not
It's
misspelled.
spelled correctly, yeah.
Spelled correctly. Okay, that is you. Awesome. And so this is kind of saying your name and our company name will be on the agreement. Description of the premises. This is your address, correct? Yes. Okay. All right. And then just right here it's gonna say as is. Just letting you know we are gonna purchase as is. I'm sure I mentioned to you before, but this putting it on the contracts, on the agreement, to make sure it's legally binding. So if anything you want to take, just let me know. This kind of gives you a quick run through, fixtures, windows, floor coverings, all that. If there's something you really, really want, just let me know. We can add it on there and you can go in and take it. All right, so as far as the purchase price, would be number one. This is what we agreed to.
Typically, just to stop you, remember when I was saying we want to make them feel comfortable. We want to set the expectation up. We want you to leave the home without putting a single penny in. That is why we're putting as is on here. We want you to leave the home as if you were going to put on let's say you put this home on the MLS. If there's anything that's not covered on here that you feel that hey, I really want to take that, just let me know and we'll add it on later on. So, but just set that expectation, but you can keep going.
Okay. I just kind of want to start off over again. So I'd be like, yeah, so this is just kind of get, letting you know that, I mean, there's something, you mentioned
Well-
something you want to take or?
Well, starting with the description written as follows. So as I mentioned to you before in our beginning of our conversation, we're going to be buying the home as is, and we want to reiterate it on this agreement because just so there's no stones left unturned, whatever. We wrote a couple things here that pretty much applied. We basically had done that based on if you were going to put the home on the MLS. If you were going to go do that, what standard things would you leave on the property? We kind of expect you to leave the same, right? Now, the only reason I say that is, and this is me just going on, but the only reason I say that is we've had instances in the past where this is again situational. We have instances in the past where they'll take every appliance in the home, and obviously that changes a lot of things. Those aren't cheap appliances, and it becomes a sticky situation, right? You gotta make a joke out. I'm sure you're not gonna take the stove out of your home, are you, Gerald? Right? So but it's just making them laugh, right? That was my always goal, and it just makes them feel super comfortable. So
Making them your buddy. Okay.
yeah.
Number 9, okay, seller warrants there are no judgments threatening the equity subject to project, no bankruptcy pending or competent any title holder. So this is kind of saying, I mean, we're hoping that there's no bankruptcy, on the title, and also there's,
It's not really that we're not hoping. It's just the idea of, I'm basically saying for number 9, if there's anything that you can think of that might jeopardize with the transaction, usually those are things like a pending divorce, maybe a bankruptcy. Obviously, that's probably not applicable to you, right, Gerald? No. We should be 100% fine because number 9 is all it's saying is you just have to let me know. We just want to keep an open line of communication just so we're not putting ourselves in a transaction where it's just going to extend on forever because of something we just weren't
Is
told.
it kind of like when we say like, oh, is there anybody else you need to consult with? Like in like
Kind of same idea.
same.
Yeah, but these are just like a bankruptcy and a pending divorce. Like no attorney can legally close on that property while those two things are happening.
Could we be like, oh, is there any like hiccups that could
Perfect.
delay
Perfect.
this contract? Okay.
Perfect. That's all you have to say. Because I really haven't even read that whole thing ever in my life. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So as far as that one, like let's say that the husband signed, but the wife is also on the deed, she could like kill us with like at number 9. She could be like, I don't want to sell, and that could
She
really
can't kill us, but we would just have to go get her signature. If she doesn't, then it's not a deal.
Okay.
So it's not really about the whole other person. It's more about anything like bankruptcies and divorces are way bigger than.
Anything that would stop us from actually finishing.
Yeah, but like he said, hiccups.
Any hiccups.
There might.
Okay. And then number 10, this instrument will become legally binding contract when accepted by the seller and signed by both buyer and seller. This just kind of says, I mean, just for an example right here, we've had, before in the past where we have sellers, they want to sell their house, everything sounds great, and we end up, getting an agreement going, and then a little bit later our transaction coordinator gives them a call, and they're like, what do you mean? Like, well, we just, walked you through a contract, through an agreement, stating that you'd sell us your property. And this is just, I mean, basically, this kind of says, this is a legally binding contract, and this is something we're serious about.
Typically, I like to say it too is this number 10 just basically says in a much fancier way, you're committed to me and I'm committed to you.
You're committed to me. I'm committed to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what I was saying before, and I know you're trying to reiterate, is sometimes sellers will come to us and we walk them through an agreement and we reach out in the next week and they're like saying, we didn't sign anything yet, we have their signature. Just because somebody was getting in their ear, some competition tries to come in and make us look bad on our offer. So anytime in the future if somebody comes to you about this property, just hand me their information and I'll take care of it. And I'll let them know that we're obviously in a legally binding agreement together.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And then number 11, close on escrow. This is just the closing date.
Yeah.
Something we agreed to already, but just making sure that's the correct date, correct? Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And then number 12, this is the other company. Shepherd's and Dean, this is somebody, we use all the time. We're going to use it for, I guess, what would I say? Like,
You can say Shepherd's and Dean, we probably use about 85% of our transactions. We deal, and you can, as we make us we probably have at any time, we have probably 6 to 8 transactions going on at a time. We actually hold we have an escrow account with them where they hold our money.
Mhm.
So it just makes the process super simple, and we just have a really good relationship with them, so it
And
makes
that's
the
a closing
process.
attorney, right?
Closing
Okay.
attorney, yeah.
Our
It's not really a title company, because it's a closing attorney
That's a
state.
closing attorney.
But you can say title company, so.
Okay, all right. And then number 13, offers contingent on there being no HOA rental restrictions. We kind of spoke about this when we first talked about, so just kind of reiterating here. Buyer will grant seller 30 days after closing to vacate the property. We spoke about this as well. This is something, I guess, that'll be it, right?
You just shut up.
Okay, so that's
And
it.
then buyer, yeah, so as much as you're reading off this agreement right now, it's all about like, don't, any chance you have not to read the exact words down. Like, if I'm going into 13, you read it off, I'm like, 13 just says again, like we discussed, there can't be any rental restrictions. You said there wasn't, so I'm not really worried about it. And then we're gonna be giving you 30 days post-closing, free of charge in the property. Sound good?
Okay.
Great. Do you see that box in the bottom hand corner by seller? Click on that. Take control of the conversation, right?
Wait, so they're not paying for that? I thought they always had to pay rent.
Well, we take that of our, sometime, well, honestly, that's something we're changing is potentially we can give them, maybe past 30 days, we'll start charging them. Because realistically what happens is it just comes out of our assignment fee.
Okay.
So that's what we've done in the past, but now I kind of want
Steer away from
to
it.
steer, yeah, especially if it's more than 30 days, okay, like I'll take off $1,500. But when you have it times 3, like that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
There's your
I didn't
entire
even
fee
know.
on the property, right? Like,
Yeah, I didn't even know we had that. I thought they always had to pay.
so,
Okay, well, let me just reread it.
yeah.
Okay, well, there's 13 additional terms. This is just kind of saying there's no HOA rental restrictions, which you already told me that there isn't, so I'm not worried about it. And that we'll give you 30 days after closing to vacate the property. That's really it.
Yep, perfect.
If you just click that box at the bottom, it'll pop up a little screen. Let me know when it pops up.
Okay,
And then just go ahead and sign and we're ready.
perfect.